What's up, guys, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name's Dylan Zachary, and I'm a music enthusiast and graphic designer. Today I wanted to talk about a couple designs I did for Bob Weir. One of the founding members of the Grateful Dead passed away just 2 weeks ago, and it was an absolute shock to the whole entire Grateful Dead community and all the Deadheads around. I made a video about that a week or two ago. At this point, I just wanted to come back on here and just show you some of the designs I did strictly just for the love of this band and for Bobby and all the beauty that he gave us. So this design that I designed, as you can see right now, is a player card dedicated to Bob Weir. Bob Weir, known as Ace, he released his debut solo album, Ace, in the early 70s. He was known ever since then by Ace. The original album cover was designed by Stanley Mouse and all those guys of the 60s generation, graphic designers and everything. They did a lot of like 60s posters for the San Francisco bands back in the day, like Jefferson Airplane, Grateful Dead, Janis Joplin, Big Brother and the Holding Company. They did show posters for all those guys back in the day. That's where the initial Ace design for his debut album came from, was from Stanley Mouse. So anyway, with that design, that's an iconic design, and Bobby, ever since he released that first album, has been known as Ace. That's his nickname. With the playing card idea, I wanted to take that Ace nickname and just take it for what it was and use it as an Ace playing card because Bobby was known as Ace. So that's what we did. So we have an Ace logo at the top right hand corner for this design. Actually, the sad rose emoji changed up the colors and everything to match the vibe I was going with for this playing card, and that's exactly what that is actually an emoji replica that I redesigned, and it's kind of fitting because the Grateful Dead in the community, they use a lot of roses and dancing bears and steelies, like on my shirt, lightning bolts, turtles. They use all kinds of different imagery, and roses is one of them. So the sad rose kind of fits perfectly with obviously Bob Weir's passing, so that's why I chose to use the rose design on this. It was just too fitting not to. I used the lightning bolt design because Bob Weir was notorious for always using the lightning bolt. He always used the lightning bolt in some capacity on all his solo tours and Rat Dog tours, so I wanted to incorporate the lightning bolt. I found this awesome picture, which actually I first originally saw from the Rolling Stone post of Bob Weir's passing, but I sourced out the original image and got the best quality that I could find, and then I used this one just because it just encapsulates what Bob Weir is. He was a very spiritual person, a very meditative person, and him sitting crisscrossed like this, playing the acoustic guitar and just kind of staring deadpan at the camera is just Bobby in a nutshell. Like this photo just screams Bob Weir to me. The only thing that's a little different, you can see he's wearing a boot right there. Normally in his later years he would be barefoot. He was always barefoot. It encapsulates Bob Weir and the essence of the Grateful Dead in one photo, in my opinion. I chose this photo and I put it over top of the lightning bolt, and then we added the Bob Weir text, 1947 to 2026. We did a little distressing. I got a couple layers, different textures over top. Not too crazy, just very subtle, just to kind of give it a little bit more rugged, worn out look, just like how I like on all my designs, kind of make it look like it's a folded page a little bit. Not too much, just very slightly. And at the very bottom right hand corner, we got my logo there, let everybody know who designed it and everything. I really wanted to make this playing card just as a thank you and just to show my appreciation, and honestly I just needed a creative outlet for Bob Weir's passing because I was absolutely in shambles when that happened, and it still hurts because I don't know what's the next adventure for all of us Dead fans. Dead and Company, the Grateful Dead, they were entities that only come once in a lifetime, and the later generation was lucky enough to have Dead and Company and to get that vibe and that spirit back so many years after Jerry Garcia passed away, and I will forever be indebted to Bob Weir for bringing that legacy forward to a whole nother generation and for giving us that platform, the whatever analogy you want to use. They gave us that feeling once again that once was all those years ago that we never got to see or feel or anything because most of us weren't even alive. This was just like a thank you for Bob and his service to us Deadheads and fans across the globe and keeping this music alive after all these years. Jerry Garcia died in 1995. Bob Weir died in 2026. He kept the music alive for another 30 years after Jerry Garcia passed away, which is just mind-blowing. So the playing card I made right after Bob Weir passed away, like probably 2 days after Bob Weir passed away, and then a week later later after Bob died. Bob died on a Saturday, and the following Saturday, the family and the band, they hosted a celebration of Bob's life in San Francisco, live streamed across all platforms for us deadheads to go and watch and be a part of. But there were so many poignant moments in the moment of that celebration that it's kind of hard to pinpoint my favorite. But John said some beautiful things, and we do have a 300-year legacy that Bob wanted. He talked about it in one of his interviews. Go check it out. I think it was CBS Morning that he talked about the 300-year legacy of the Grateful Dead. He's talked about it before, how he saw John Mayer as an old man in a dream, and Bob was like in a bird's eye view seeing the band perform, but he wasn't on stage, but John was an old man. So this legacy thing is something that has to keep going because that's what Bob wanted, and I think that's why Dead & Company is so important in this legacy thing, because it was like a resurgence of the Dead all these years later after Jerry Garcia passed away. And John touched base on it beautifully in his speech, and even Mickey did. Mickey touched base on it beautifully in his speech too. And there were so many beautiful speeches that day during the celebration, but one of them that stood out the most was Bob Weir's daughter, Chloe. She said that she hopes in years to come that the music will live on, and hopefully in a parking lot somewhere in some city, the music will still be going on and we'll still be gearing up to go into a show to see a Grateful Dead iteration of some sort, whether it be Dead & Company or a cover band. She said that she can't wait till she overhears in the parking lot a 60-year-old tell a 20-year-old that they got to see Bobby and that they missed something absolutely beautiful and spectacular. That moment of that speech was so poignant with me and stood out so much because it's the truth. I mean, Bob Weir essentially was my Jerry Garcia. He kept the music going and kept it alive, and his songs are just as important as Robert Hunter's and Jerry Garcia's songs. Bob Weir and John Perry Barlow's songs are just as important in the Grateful Dead catalog as any other of the band members' songs. It's truly an honor to be able to say that I've seen Bobby. With all that being said, that's where I was getting at with this next design that I created a week later after I created the Ace playing card design, was that I created this pin idea. It's based off of Chloe's speech, and this pin idea is, as you can see now, it's I saw them with Bobby. Plain out and simple. I'm not making these pins, but if I was going to make these pins, I guarantee you that they would sell out with all the Deadheads, and we would be wearing them for the rest of our lives, seeing Dead cover bands, and we'd be wearing them with Dead & Company if they decide to keep on with that, and I know that we would wear them. This is absolutely not for sale, and I don't plan on making these. I decided to take Chloe's speech and turn it into a little pin, and as you can see, I saw them with Bobby is such a it's so true. I saw them with Bobby, and I'm so thankful. And I added the little lightning bolt in there because, like I said, he always used the lightning bolt design in a lot of his stuff, so I wanted to add that. And it's so true, man. I saw them with Bobby. I got to see him with Bobby. I got to see Dead & Company 14 times. I seen Bobby one time by himself with Wolf Bros on his own little tour, and each time was absolutely magical. As much as I want to be sad, I am sad that Bob Weir is no longer with us. I'm happy for the memories that I have with my friends and family, seeing the band and celebrating the music and being on Shakedown and hanging out with Deadheads and meeting people and just being a part of a beautiful community, listening to beautiful music and just living in a beautiful moment in time. And I'm so thankful that I got to see Bobby. I'm so thankful for the guys that are going to continue this legacy and keep the music alive, because the music never stops and it will never stop. That's the beauty of the Grateful Dead. We got 300 years, baby. We're going to keep at it. We're going to keep making cool designs. We're going to keep sharing our art, and us Deadheads are going to share out in droves for whatever is next in this musical journey, and I can't wait to see you guys there. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I hope you guys liked the Bob Weir designs I did, the playing card and the pin. Absolutely awesome memories, awesome moments, and I'm so thankful I was there and I got to experience it. If you guys like this, please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. It helps out so much to a small-time YouTuber like myself. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. Be sure to tune in next week for another video, and I'll catch you guys on the Shakedown lot. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys. On that note, peace.